Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Share What You're Making with Chair and Bacon. With you as your host, as always, is Bacon over there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm here. I was wondering where that was going to go. I was like, this is going to be great either way.
I, of course, am Chair. You can follow me on Twitter at VRYCMFY. Very comfy. Also on Lens, VRYCMFY.lens. Where can they find you, Bacon?
Oh, God. I forgot. I didn't realize Twitter's still a thing. I thought that died. But no, I'm on Twitter somewhere. You'll find me. I am at Baconator with the H. So ABACONAETOR.
That's at Baconator, BACONAETOR on Twitter.
And then my lens is...
Oh, you're on Lens, eh?
Yeah, where do I find that?
Who got you that lens?
I wonder who it was. It must have been my best friend, Chair.
Well, signing into Lens helps. You'll need to remember which wallet it was, since Lens profiles are in fact governed by an NFT in your wallet. You don't like the address your Lens profile is associated with? Change it.
Yeah, okay, here we go. At baconog.lens.
Baconog.lens. You can follow the show on Twitter at Chair Bacon. That's one word, Chair Bacon. The show does not have a Lens profile yet. That will change soon.
Yeah, it should. Lens is so legit.
We love Lens.
We do.
We'll get into ETHDenver as it just ended, but the Lens booth at ETHDenver was cracking. Follow the show.
Are you sure that wasn't the Kraken booth?
Kraken was there. They were handing out psychedelic drugs at their booth.
Were
I'm
they?
just kidding.
Damn, I was about to get so excited. It's so bad I wasn't there.
No, I just made that up. Please follow the show, folks, on Twitter. Please follow us on Twitter. It's the best way for us to communicate with you. And of course, follow MetaFam. That's METAFAM, MetaFam on Twitter, and MetaGame.WTF. MetaGame, I hope you stay up late at night. Check out MetaGame. This show is brought to you by MetaGame. We love MetaGame. I got to meet a lot of octos in Denver. I can't wait to get into it.
Did you meet Peeth?
I met Peeth. I got to give him a hug. I got to give him a hug in the bathroom.
Oh, there you go.
Peeth is as big of a presence in person as he is online, and a warm soul. And got to chop it up with him a little bit about MetaFest coming up this summer in Croatia in August. And before we go any further, let's get right into it. This show is brought to you by MetaFest. MetaFest this year, August 11th through August 25th, 2023, at a very special location, the homeland of Peeth himself, Punta Christo, Croatia. Now, Peeth is from Croatia. I don't think he's from Punta Christo.
He's from the local city there.
So a moment in time for all of the octos to extend their tentacles, touch their suction cups together in such a way that a lubricant is formed between them and they are joined. The octos will dock together in Croatia.
Anyway, perfect example, Chair. So yes, but it looks like it will be a fantastic event. I hear Croatia is beautiful. I've been there once, and it was beautiful when I was there. But I hear it's even more beautiful when you're there, even more. Yep, that made sense.
The land of Crocop. Right leg hospital, left leg cemetery.
Anywho, yeah, it should be a really nice event. Mid to late August.
Will we see you there, Bacon?
Yes, I am fully planning on being there for at least a part. So there's the warm-up, right? Whatever that is, from the 11th to the 15th. Then there's the main event from the 16th to the 18th. And then there's the bus trip from the 19th to the 25th.
What is the bus trip?
I don't know what any of them are. That's what I'm saying. I will be there for at least one of those three things, possibly two of those three things. I don't think I can make all three.
Well, I'm looking at the site now. And the bus trip, which is marked as the after MetaFest activity for the hardcore, an epic week-long adventure down the coast of Croatia to Dubrovnik, visiting beautiful places with 50 fellow Taoists and regens. That seems like this is going to be a good old time with the folks after MetaFest. And let's just go through it. I'm looking now at metafest.wtf. That's metafest.wtf. Again, that's August 11th through the 25th in Croatia. There will be side quests self-organized with info and space provided, adventure parks, water parks, quad biking, diving, paintball, rock climbing, panoramic.
You skipped Adrenaline Park. I want to know what an Adrenaline Park is.
Adrenaline Park. It's not as fun as it sounds. It's where they harvest adrenochrome.
Ah, shit. Those fucking,
They create the adrenaline. They harvest the adrenaline. It's dark.
what's the term?
I think it's their term for our Six Flags and what have you.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about that. Just as I was reading it, as I was saying that, I was like, oh, it must be like, what do you call that? A theme park?
Yeah, we have a shit name for it. We should start calling it Adrenaline Park.
Yeah, because like there's not usually a theme, really. It's like sometimes they do. There's not usually like a theme. I now have to look up the origin of that word.
I looked into a ziplining business.
Oh, amusement park. That's what we typically call them.
Yes. Are you amused or are you adrena-sized?
Adrenocized, adrenochrome. Ready for Hillary Clinton to come take my adrenochrome. Let's go.
She definitely sends Chelsea to go get it.
Doesn't that take out some of the joy if you're not doing it yourself? Isn't that the point?
Sounds like Bacon knows more than he's letting on.
I am Q. I would like to officially announce that I am Q from QAnon. That's me. I don't know why I kept it secret for the past 10 years.
MetaFest.WTF, August 11th through 25th, Croatia. Adrenaline parks, boat trips, swimming, sightseeing, tasty lunches, dinners, and more. The main quest will feature games, workshops, talks, panels, unconference in the afternoons, into the evenings with parties, into the night.
Always into the night.
The list of speakers is vast. I think I met most of them. You know, in an earlier time, I was known to skip sleeping altogether when I was having a good time. But it's been a solid decade of early nights and quiet evenings, maybe a little less than a decade. But I have no doubt that it will be a fun time, that it will be a very good bonding experience for a lot of friends that don't get to see each other in person or very rarely. I will declare right now that I will go to MetaFest.
Okay.
If Chair Bacon Twitter account reaches 10,000 followers by August 1st.
So you're telling me you're not going to MetaFest is what you're declaring right now?
Whoa, hold. Man, these two people look at a cup. One sees it half full. You know what I'm saying?
If you had said 1,000, I would have been like, I see what you're after. But 10,000? If we got 10,000, you know what I would do if we got fucking 10,000 followers?
Our podcast would be widely disseminated and ingested.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I mean, I don't know. I just left that open-ended because I don't really know what I'd do. I assume at that point, make money, quit my day job. Although I currently don't have a day job, so
you heard it here, folks. Chair Bacon at Chair Bacon gets 10,000 followers. Bacon is quitting his day job.
Bacon's getting laid off from his day job, but we'll call it that.
That food truck will be down an excellent dishwasher.
Yeah, I love what they're gonna do without me.
If anyone's looking for a position at that point, reach out to the Naco Taco food truck on Newberry Street. Every day except Sunday.
The Lord's Day.
So since we're going inside baseball all the way, I can say that I'm planning a move this summer, and as such, it's very hard to schedule in traipsing all over Europe as much as I want to. So that's why I have to be very tentative, though that event falls after the move should be already done, and it is my goal to bring as much awareness to MetaFest as possible. This show is brought to you by MetaGame. The show would not happen without at least 8 tentacles of octos helping with the production and the promotion and the editing.
And the harvesting of adrenochrome.
We're not outsourcing. How many meetings have we had about we have to stop spending money on the harvesting, and we're still harvesting?
I told you, it's important. It's adrenochrome.
For the enjoyment, right? Because the real enjoyment is in the harvesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, we established this earlier in the cast.
Well, the curtains are really coming up.
Okay, for real though? All right, no, you know what? We have not been successful as a podcast until I get questions by the FBI. That's how we'll know. The inflection point as to whether or not we've made it is at the point at which the FBI comes and starts asking me questions. And it's like, why are you saying you're QAnon on a podcast, right? Like, that's how we'll know when we made it.
I pretty sure that my Twitter profile was reviewed by the 3 letters, by the 3-letter folks.
One of the 3 letters.
Because Texture, in all his wisdom, at I am Texture on Twitter, decided to tag the FBI in one of my replies to his tweets.
Nice.
And then I was suspended from Twitter for about 5 or 6 days.
Were you really?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And had to adopt Lens fully. I'm happy that it happened, since that I'm an unbanned. But I can't help to think, because it happened about 2 days after that. So they got around to my file and put the squadoosh on me for a moment. Really puts in perspective when you hear about other people. Like it's one thing until you get banned, and then you understand a lot of the tweets and responses from other people, because it is like, I didn't take it. I felt a sense of betrayal. Felt a sense of I joined Twitter in 2009, and I don't have a ton of followers, certainly, but I've always tried to stay true to myself when posting things. So or just shit posting.
So what was the post in question?
I had ChatGPT write something about an apology. It was an open apology for trying to mint early during the Texture Punks mint end of January. So it was a long thing. Like, I sincerely apologize for trying to hack the contract and minting early and la la la. As a texter just tagged the FBI and said this person is trying to steal something.
That's much more tame than what I expected.
Yeah, it was nothing. But there's no other reason for me to be banned. I'm either tweeting about infinity keys, infinitykeys.io. There's treasure everywhere. We'll get into it.
Also, we might as well talk. So the contents of the tweet was that you were apologizing for allegedly attempting to hack into and get the texture mint early, which, as listeners will know from our previous episode, the Texture Punks, he did the whole project. It's like the Crypto Punks, they're his. Do you want to do a quick plug for that? Can people still mint? Can people still buy those? What's the situation there?
Absolutely. Texture Punks mint is still open. I believe they're about halfway minted out. Texturepunks.com, TEXTURE punks PUNX.com.
Yeah, and you should be cool, not like me. I don't know what happened. I was supposed to be on the whitelist and get like free things, and then I was, and then I wasn't, and I don't know what happened. But either way,
They had a rather hectic submission process within the Discord,
yeah.
leading up to the mint, and you had to have the role in the Discord and also submit your address into a specific channel.
When I went to mint the first time I was there, we don't have to get into the weeds here, but when I went to mint the first time I was there, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna wait until I get home. And when I got home, I checked again, it wasn't there. But it doesn't matter. Either way, they're really cool. Check them out. If that's your thing, you should get one because they're pretty sweet looking.
Definitely. I minted 4, and I minted a female one as well. I am pushing for Texture Punk's V2 mating feature.
Did you print it out and put it on a pillow?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I will.
Gotta find a good quality printer.
I'm pushing for 2 things for the V2 of Texture Punks, or some sort of derivative. Number 1, mating. Texture Punks should be mating, having babies. Second, uncapped supply. Currently it's at 10K. I say we should always have one more than CryptoKitties. That's just me. And if you don't see why, I believe like 2 million.
Wait, is CryptoKitties capped?
Nope.
2 million originals or 2 million including the bred ones? Because I assume you can breed them indefinitely.
2 million total.
2 million total. Okay.
If there's 2 million, there should be 2 million and 1 Texture Punks. But that's on you folks to mint out, or at least to keep minting. So there's about 4,000 or 5,000 minted. Let's call it 4. The Crypto Punks look like shit, and I think that's widely accepted. Texture Punks are the diametric opposite of that. They are thoughtfully put together. The best part about them is that you can construct your own Texture Punk in the UI on the site. You do not need to go to OpenSea or Looks Rare or wherever and find one that you think looks good. You can create it your own, unless, of course, someone has already created it. All of the art is 100% on chain. The SVG layers.
Oh, is that what happened? Are they all unique?
Everything is 100% unique. You cannot mint the same texture punk.
Oh, maybe that's what happened to me. Maybe that's why when I tried to set up the first time, it was fine. And when I tried to do it the second time, it didn't work. Maybe somebody else made that what I was trying to make in the time frame. I'll have to double check.
Yeah, and the error message was a little bit vague. Like, if you knew that they had to be unique, then it made sense, the error message you were getting. But if you didn't know that, then it would be like, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I just didn't think about it.
We love the texture punks. We love the hoodie cartel. We love the cone heads and everyone else over there. And we will have texture back on soon. He verbally committed. Yeah, he is verbally committed to coming on. So
sweet.
We'll have texture round 2 where we really get into it. I want to know, among other things, what were you wearing in the hot tub, and who else was in the hot tub? exactly, and what were they wearing? I think we talked about it, but we didn't talk about what they were
I think you
wearing.
told us who, just not what they were
Right.
wearing.
So we need to fill that picture all the way in, if you know what I mean.
I think, can we just infer the fact they didn't mention it? Clearly, they weren't wearing anything, right? Otherwise, you would have clearly mentioned it.
I mean, why go a hot tub if you're planning to wear clothes?
Yeah, exactly. So I think by omission, he implied that there was no clothes.
Those dyes and those color, you don't need that in the water. It goes into your skin.
Yeah.
Think if someone, I won't even get into it. Hot tubs are disgusting.
Anyway, so back to ETHDenver.
ETHDenver was amazing. I'm still reeling.
How was the venue? I was really excited about the new venue.
The venue was cool. It was a big conference, your standard giant conference hall, one floor, endless. It was connected to an old rodeo ring. It was like the National Western Conference Complex, something like that. And so there was the conference building, and there was the rodeo arena, which is it's an arena, like imagine an empty hockey arena with like concrete on the ice, the boards taken out. So they had a giant stage there. That was the main stage. To get there, you had to do this underground. You had to kind of go down to the underground of the conference, and then that takes you right into the arena. Starting with the event itself, the organization of it, the logistics of it, I give them an A-. The only slow thing was day one checking in, because they have so many people that it was an hour in line just to get your badge.
Yeah, was it COVID testing again?
No.
Oh, because that was a problem. So last year when I went, it was like 2 hours because everyone had a COVID test, and you weren't allowed to enter the premises without having COVID test. So they do all the COVID tests outside, so you had to wait outside because let someone in, then it's like legal issue or insurance issue rather.
It was fine. You could smoke weed outside in that line.
Well, the weekend I was there was freezing. It was like 5 degrees. So nobody was smoking fucking weed outside in 5 degrees.
Everyone had their gloves on. No, the weather was great. So, but I don't want to harp on the line. It was fine. We got in, and then we spent like hours and hours in there afterward. At some point, I was hooked up with a Spork Whale badge, which would have allowed me to go to the lounge with an open bar that I wouldn't have used. I never made it to that place because I never found it, because that's how big the place was.
Oh, wow. Did the acquiring of this Sporked Out badge have anything to do with a certain repeat guest?
You're spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on. Do your digging through your catalog. Do the digging through the catalog, and other guests that we need to have on. In fact, we can rinse and repeat. I think the level and to listeners, to the 4 listeners that have listened to every episode, you might agree, and reach out on Twitter. Let us know who you want to see. But I think just the stable of guests that we've had.
Oh, my parents don't have a Twitter, so
between Solidity devs, founders, operators in the space, between the 8 guests that we've had, we have some of the coolest, most OG hardcore Web3 people.
We really do.
In terms of guests and who they are and what they're doing in the space. We can just repeat through them every year and just get updates from them, and we'd be plugged right into what's going on.
We have such a long list though of new people though too that want to get in.
Oh, certainly. And I'm not saying we should do that, but we could do that. Those could just be our stable.
We had like 3 or 4 people next on the docket. Can't remember now.
We're going to have to re-examine everything. We will open up the Discord to the public as well soon.
Oh, it's already open to the public. It's public.
Oh, it's public? Well, then get in there, folks. If you're a listener, please do get in the Discord. I guess you can join from the Twitter at ChairBacon on Twitter. Click the Discord invite. Go to our Discord, say hello, make a guest request, let us know you're listening. We know there's a few of you out there. I met a few of you at ETHDenver. I really appreciate you listening.
Yeah, and actually Texture coming on was fully listener driven. So we had other listeners like message Texture. Like Texture was like, why can't I be on a podcast? And why is no one having me on podcast? And our listeners messaged him. They're like, you should go on Chair and Bacon.
Yeah, shout out Bagsy.
Yeah, shout out to Bagsy for sure. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, and we'd love to make anything that makes sense to happen again. We do, of course, like more of the Web3 open source EVM, not Maxi, but ETH-centric crowd. And if there's someone that you want to hear from, like a Texture, founder of Ethereum, who's been on 2 podcasts, one of them yours truly, we will make that happen. I met a lot of Texture Punk holders at ETHDenver. I gave away some hats that Whiplash created. Shout out Whiplash and the Hoodie Cartel. A lot of raid guilders, a lot of MetaCartelians. The MetaCartel party on Saturday was very cool. Mango of the Charged Particles crew. I don't know if he's still there, but he's an awesome fucking DJ. He spun for about 2.5 hours. He had a standing ovation at the end. I can't wait to see him live again. That was a highlight for me, that party and that DJ set and the impromptu liquor control bust upstairs. That was not impromptu, but unexpected, certainly, and hilarious for those of us who were sober and witnessed it. Without naming names, a bottle of liquor was opened in the bar. Like the venue has a liquor license. It's a bar, they're having a private event. But then like a bottle of liquor was opened and they got all pissy. The venue did. And it was just funny. It was funny to watch.
So someone brought their own bottle to the venue and they opened it? Okay.
Yes.
And then the venue was like, you can't have your own stuff. Yeah, okay,
correct. And they asked for the bottle, and they were like, well, no. But also, they were, MetaCartel paid a lot of money for the party, so it's not really in their interest to like make a big deal out of it. It's not, but they can't have an open bottle floating around. Really funny. I did my best to smooth things over because nobody.
Was the bottle of was it of a certain party's own making?
It was a whiskey of sorts. I'm not sure who made it. And it's nothing to.
Because isn't there is it Whiskey Dow, or does Raid Brood have their own whiskey now?
I believe there is a chili themed whiskey that's floating around.
Was it that?
Among other things. I'm not sure. I think so because I got to smell it and everyone was kind of like, but there was a lot of people, and they were looking at it, whatever. And so I'm like, oh, let me get a whiff. Smelled good, strong. And I couldn't get a look at the bottle before the bust ensued. And so I was just talking to my security guard buddy.
Talking about that back at MCon when I was there. People were talking about the new whiskey they were making up, and it sounded really good, but I couldn't afford a bottle. It was very expensive.
So Raid Brood is a beer, DAO that spun out of Raid Guild, out of the Yeeter protocol, and was at ETHDenver at the Raid Guild booth. Was a ton of Raid Brood beer, and Infinity Keys was doing quests with Raid Brood among 7 other projects, 6 or 7, at ETHDenver. So folks who completed all of the Raid Brood quests got an invite to the MetaCartel party, and about 13 winners won. 13 winners who could get their wallets to work, and then there were some folks who did the quest but couldn't mint and did buy the beer. Because part of it is you had to find all of the Raid Brood beers have an NFT on them. And part of the quest was claiming that NFT. But if the internet doesn't work at the venue, which that's part of the A-, though I know how hard it is to have cell service or internet at an event like that, and I didn't expect it to work. I never turned on my Wi-Fi to even look for it, or my Bluetooth.
Because they had over 10,000 people there, right?
About 15 is what I heard.
15,000 people. Yeah, it's impossible to provide internet infrastructure for 15,000 people.
It worked. It was just slow, but it worked. Like everything loaded eventually. It just was slow and not even that slow, but really like for a very tech forward crowd, it was like, come on. Especially if you're trying to do quests and claim NFTs and get MetaMask to load correctly. Because like if MetaMask isn't loading its data quick enough, which is what everyone is using primarily, then it fucks everything up. And so this podcast is brought to you by MetaGame. Find us at metagame.wtf, wiki.metagame.wtf, and follow MetaFam on Twitter at MetaFam. MetaGame. You'll leave with more questions than you started with. So the Raid Brood beer at the end, at the very final event on Sunday, was a big party right after the hackathon final thing, all the final judging for the hackathon. There's a giant party, DJs, bands, performances. Everyone that was drinking beer was drinking a Raid Brood beer. Every beer that I saw that was being drank was a Raid Brood beer. It was cool to see. So a lot of success there. Infinity Keys definitely got the word out. I was at the Raid Guild booth 90% of the time. So I really only saw maybe 50% of the conference floor, but probably even less than that in all the booths. So can't comment on too much about like the presence of people. I was definitely at the arcade area. Was a lot of fun playing some of the new games that are coming, talking to the devs. Avagachi had a giant presence at the arcade area, and everyone was in their comfy gachi sweaters and very visible, and that was very cool to meet everyone in that crew.
When are you gonna have somebody from Amagachi on the show?
Oh man, imminently. There's a lot to talk about. Actually, there's some stuff with the DAI DPEG and the USDC DPEG that's really interesting that I'd like to cover at some point during this episode because it's very pertinent to what just happened in the space. But we'll get someone on. I would love to get like the main summoners on eventually: Coder Dan, Jesse, Zbot, and others, and everyone else. But we can probably start running through. We could probably have a gotchi guest every episode if we wanted to, and have like a small gotchi segment, which is something that maybe is worth discussing because there's a lot that's already happened that will be happening. Will be more exciting for Avagachi, and we'll get into it soon. So the arcade was very cool, and really it was cool. The Raid Guild booth was very close to the entrance of the entire event. There was only one entrance, so everyone passed by it basically. You could there's like a fork in the road. You could go right or left. If you went left, you're basically going to pass the Raid Guild booth, and so it got to meet everyone that we get to interact with online, but don't get to meet. So that was a lot of fun. I think that ETHDenver is ready for Vegas. I don't know how they'll keep the name, but I think an even bigger event center, if the attendance keeps growing, is probably in the cards. They'll probably stay at this place for a while. But
yeah, I was about to say, do you really think they'd move to Vegas? I feel like they'll stay in Denver for a while because that's also where MCon is. I know a few of those guys live out there.
MCon not happening this year. MetaFest replacing MCon this year.
Wait, is MCon really not happening this year?
Not happening this year.
Damn.
MetaFest is the only MetaCartel conference happening.
Nice.
This year.
MetaGame represent.
I don't know. Anything else you might want to know about ETHDenver? It was a smooth trip for us. Stayed up in the mountains and went snowboarding before we went to the conference, and learned that if you sleep at 10,000 feet, your oxygen levels might go low, and it might have effects on your health. So you have to watch your oxygen levels when you're sleeping at 10,000 feet.
Oh man!
So we learned this. Really, that was probably the only snafu. Downtown Denver it's a little rough. There's a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
The street. That's where my Airbnb was. But the weather was really good. So no complaints there.
Yeah, that's good. So no other major highlights? Is there anything else you want to hit before we move on to the next thing?
You know, I'm trying to think. It'll probably come to me.
We can also always revisit. I know Derek wanted to come on the show before ETHDenver to pitch it, but I'm sure he'd be just as willing to come on after as like a recap and to kind of sell us on everything.
Yeah, that would be great. Oh, so the Summa Alpha ETHDenver Europe and ETHDenver Asia is happening. So which is why I think ETHDenver Vegas is not completely out of the question, because
yeah,
if we're just going to add other geography to it, then fuck it. No, but we definitely should. So let's follow up on that. Maybe we'll do a Buffy Corn, Spork DAO, sort of what's coming up for the future sort of vibe.
I also want to hear more about Spork DAO and the Buffy Corns in general. It looks like I just saw something recently that was like somebody was like funded by, it was Keep, or however you pronounce it. They were funded by Spork DAO, right? Are they in the Spork DAO portfolio?
Probably.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's gonna be huge because they're gonna be huge and they're gonna make Spork DAO huge. That's alpha. If you haven't heard that yet, you're hearing it here now, and you can take that shit to the bank. Keep is gonna be huge, and it's gonna make Spork DAO huge.
Keep KEYP is going to make accounts in Ethereum. You can imagine.
As simple as a Google account login.
So account abstraction brought to life by the good people at Keep. We'll have one or both of those founders on.
Yeah, so we touched on it before. We had Cup of Joseph on before when he talked about it when it was still called Feather. So it's actually been brought up in the cast because, it's always on share what you're making the Terran Bacon first. We get all the hot scoop. That's why you listen to us, because we always have it first.
Yeah, we had Moloch V3 contracts with Deacon like last year. But anyway, we digress.
Yeah, we did.
So yeah, the good people at Keep. So what were we saying? Bufficorn, Keep. Yeah, I'm sure I really don't know anything about the VC side of all of that, but very excited. I heard some interesting things from from Keep and what they're like, let's say next, get people onboarded and get people using Keep, and then what happens after that. And that's I'll let them drop the alpha.
Sounds good. On our show.
We had a transitioning to out of ETHDenver and to what just happened. So we're recording this episode on Sunday, March 12th. And the Silicon Valley Bank, aka SVB, aka why does everyone have 3 initials starting with S? That's fucking us. It has been declared insolvent, or the bank has gone bankrupt itself, or I don't really know, but everyone's really scared.
It's both of those, I think.
And USDC had about 10% of its assets locked up at that bank, and so everyone thinks that that Circle is going to fail. And long story short, USDC depegged to as low as 89 cents. DAI did the same thing. Both of them are on their way back up now. At the time of this recording, they're at about 96 cents.
Yeah, they're pretty much fully recovered. One of the trackers I saw had it at $1 exactly still. One of it had it at 95, whatever, 96. DAI was at 97 on CoinMarketCap. So they're mostly back up to normal. Like, it's not rare for DAI to hit 97 cents. It's not exactly a rare occurrence.
I think during DeFi summer, it was common. It hasn't been that common lately for them to go that low. But so obviously everyone is scared, and we're recording at the moment where we don't know what's going to happen. On Monday, Kim.com, of course, is flooding the entire United States.
Kim.com that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, people are declaring like bank run on all banks. I don't think that's the case. I think this ETH bounced, like in terms of a couple of hours, within the last couple of hours, ETH bounced to the levels previous to all of this. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, I was reading some articles, and it said that there looks like there's some risk to some smaller banks. So smaller banks, some of them are on questionable footing, but all the major big banks and stuff are all fine. Most banks are fine. It's just like the smaller banks that still do a lot of like investment, venture capital type stuff. Some of those are questionable, but it seems like it's gonna be fine overall. And I think Circle doesn't Circle just like print their own money, so I'm not really worried about them.
This seems like this news is going to come out and it's going to be big no matter what. And the people that understand FUD and FUD cycles and are big players know how to use it, know how to use their resources to create attention and diversions where they need to. And, there's players out there that can move things in a coordinated way that can depeg stablecoins. And if they spread the FUD correctly and the media, like the mainstream media, is doing a good job of helping them, then I think you see it depeg. It's really good that it's not bouncing back and forth. I think I think it kept going lower, hit a bottom, it's rising back up. I don't see it like going like 92, 98, 93. So that's we'll see. I'd like to see everything go back to normal. Do you know about what happened with the Avagachi closing the curve the very same hour?
You brought this up, and I want the juicy goss now. Like, give us the dirt on what happened. Take us through it.
So a very spooky thing. Avagachi's main token is called Ghost. It started on Ethereum. It's still on Ethereum, but a lot of it has been bridged to Polygon because the game is played on Polygon. But originally it's on Ethereum, and the only way you could get Ghost, like the only way new Ghost would be minted, was through the bonding curve, and that was set up through an Aragon DAO. And that bonding curve was backed by DAI. So basically you could buy Ghost with DAI to mint Ghost, and that DAI is put into reserve. I really am not great with the bonding curve technicalities, but I do understand that because Ghost price was tied to the bonding curve, it would not move in either direction as quickly as the rest of the market, meaning when everything was going up, Ghost would go up much slower. The same thing, Ghost would go down much slower if the market was crashing. So the curve was like a blessing and a curse. Not attractive for investors when things are going up, but a good place to keep your stuff when everything else is shitting the bed. That combined with the hardcore community that doesn't sell much, so like a really strong base of holders, it kept a really stable price for a long time. However, everyone understood that in the next bull run, Ghost would be left behind due to the curve. So a lot of back and forth in the DAO, but elegantly enough, a proposal was adopted, voted on, there was a proposal, it was voted on and enacted. We are closing the curve, but to do so, and so that happened. I think that vote came in about a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. So that vote comes through, like, let's say at some point in March or in February of 2023. And in order to actually turn off the curve, that original Aragon DAO implementation needed to be voted on and have it turned off. So the great migration of Ghost back to Ethereum, at least there's like a certain quorum number that had to be met, which was met, had to be migrated back to Ethereum. And that took a little bit of time. Everybody got it there, and the vote takes place. Once the vote takes place and is finished, it can be enacted. So it was finally enacted on Friday at around 9 p.m. Eastern time. Now, at that time, the DPEG had already begun, though people didn't realize that it did.
Mm-hmm.
So the vote was enacted. The curve was turned off. Ghost became a free-floating token, untied to DAI in any way, and is now a free-floating token. Its price is free to move in the normal way. About not 20 minutes later, probably even less than that, everyone, the entire, oh my God, everything is depegging hit everywhere. USDC plummeting, DAI plummeting, Tether holding strong, interestingly enough. Now, the meme in Aavegotchi forever has been the curve is forever. The curve is forever. Sort of it became a meme. There's the argument that like the curve is what's going to keep us stable and keep this ecosystem healthy for a long time. But there's also like it's at some point, the most adamant players, the most hardcore players, it's like, why would I keep so much value in a token that's never going to go, like it doesn't even have a chance to go up, right? And that side won. So the curve was turned off, and if the DPEG, and even through this weekend, and Aavegotchi or Ghost was still affected because its main liquidity pool on Polygon is tied to USDC. So the price still took a hit, and it definitely went the other way that everyone thought it would go. Though things are fine, but because that main pool on Poly is a USDC pool, it's a little bit dicey. But so long story short, somehow, some way, Aavegotchi timed decoupling from DAI the same hour that DAI depegged the hardest it's ever depegged, and would have definitely sent the token into a spiral to much lower than it did.
That's pretty wild.
Crazy.
That is pretty wild. And that's all just circumstance? There's not any
I mean, these are those moments where it's like, no, nobody planned for who could have predicted Silicon Valley Bank failing and everything happening the way it did. But it did. I was there. I saw it. I was on the call, and 100 other people were too. It was really crazy. And it was supposed to be this elation event that turned into like, God, I hope we'll make it, like everyone else felt on Friday night.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I was there. I would have bought the fuck out of DAI and USDC and made mad money. Or at least I like to think I would have. I tend to be a buy the dip guy.
Depends when everything is depegging and you see it DAI at 91 cents, and you think, well, it's like I can make a 9% return here, or I guess you could make a whole lot more than that if you knew how to play the game right. But
I mean, I would have only made like a 9. Well, it'd be a 10% return technically at that point.
Yeah, I think like for Moon, for like, I don't know. Now I know people are laughing at me listening to this because you can take a 9-cent swing from 91 cents to $1 and make a whole lot more than 10% on it if you knew what you're doing. But
yeah, but it's not the easiest thing.
Yeah, there's a lot more risk, obviously, and this is not a financial show. Listen to Up Only for that. Just kidding. Fuck those guys. No, I'm just, I have no.
Yeah, people should take all their financial advice from us because clearly we know what we're talking about.
How well we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing great, by the way. I mean, like spiritually and mentally.
Financially?
No, we're getting there.
Yeah.
But
it's better than me. I'm getting further from there. Like I'm regressing financially. So
no, things are fine. Buy the fake gotchis, everybody. Fake gotchis by Kahi Akahi, commissioned by yours truly, auctioned from time to time at fakegotchis.com or auction.aavegotchi.com.
What bullshit are you spreading on our show now, Chair? What is this shit?
I'm sorry. I went into a trance. Anyway, so the DPEGs are live. I luckily Didn't have much in stables, so all of this tomfoolery, I'm less affected, though. The market as a whole did take a shit, and so I'm directly affected. So where does that leave us, Bacon? Where does that leave us? It leaves us on the fucking shores of the Mississippi River downstream from fucking East Palestine. That's where it leaves us.
Wow, that was a deep cut. But all right, I'm here for it. But what the fuck are these fake gotchis?
So fake gotchis, if you've heard of the Rare Pepes collection, it's like one of the most OG NFT collections. So the community in Rare Pepes spun off a derivative, I guess, or just like a project. It's still a community project called Fake Rare Pepes. So they're like community created ones. And Avagachi took that model and created fake gotchi. So it's very much like an official part of the. In fact, fake FAKE stands for like it's an acronym for something else. But any community member can submit a fake gotchi art piece if they hold a fake gotchi card, which is on sale for Ghost in the Avagachi Bazaar. You burn the card for the right to mint up to 100 editions of an art piece, of a piece. And there's a capped number of fake cards. I believe that's 2,000, 2,400 tops. And so each one of those can mint up to 100, but everyone usually mints less than 100. So there's like a total supply possible of 240,000, but in reality, it's going to be much less. And because a lot of people burn, there's a lot of burning going on. It's like people will mint more in the beginning, and then as incentives for holders or for like current auctions or sales to burn things. So it makes things really interesting. So I have a fake gotchi piece out there. If you follow my Twitter at Very Comfy, you'll see all the tweets about it. The auctions go about 2 or 3 times a week right now. Benefits to holders include a holder-only Discord server for exclusive news and access to and about Kahi Akahi, aka Candy Kahi, the artist extraordinaire who is sort of breaking into the Web3 scene and doing some really dope shit. If you've seen the new Infinity Keys logos, that's also him. Infinity Keys, there's treasure everywhere, and it's not a cult. infinitykeys.io. Coming back to the shill and rounding it out, we will be using this initial fake gotchi drop as sort of an access key into the future stuff that the Candy Kahi will be doing, and sort of building a community around his collectors and people who like what he's doing. So it's starting off in the fake gotchi world. It will certainly expand. We will certainly do a lot more fake gotchi stuff as well. I really enjoy it, and as a medium to like tell stories, it's an interesting vehicle. So that's fake gotchis. How's that for a show?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that sounds like the show to me. We're at about time. We covered ETHDenver. We plugged a bunch of shit. Talked about upcoming things. Talked about ETHDenver. Talked about economic collapses, financial collapses, which fortunately looks like we're in the weather. We plugged some more shit. We didn't talk about Infinity Keys enough. We'll have to do that in the next episode. We'll have to talk more about Infinity Keys and how cool that is. But yeah, we talked about a bunch of shit.
It's good to be back.
Oh, we promoted MetaFest.
Yeah, this show is brought to you by MetaFest. That's metafest.wtf. We'll see you in Croatia. Follow the show at Chair Bacon. Follow Bacon at Baconator. Follow me at Very Comfy. Let us know who you'd like to hear interviewed on the show as a guest. We have access to everyone. Everyone. No, I don't know. We'll try it. We'll try our best. Thank you to the MetaGame Octos, all of them. Thank you in particular to everyone who helps us produce and publish this show. We certainly couldn't do it without them. We don't even know the first thing. It was good seeing everyone in Denver. It's good to be back recording. Bacon, we did it.
We did. Oh, we should also plug. We have done 2 live streams in the past in the past several months that we've been on hiatus from the podcast apps. We did do 2 live streams. One was on Twitch. One was on YouTube.
Yeah, those were more like sort of tests. But if you like deep cuts and you're really into the banter, go find that out in YouTube and Twitch land. We'll be doing more live streams.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be doing more of those. If you want to see what that's like, we'll start feeling out that more. But just so you know, we are looking to expand across media disciplines.
Advertisers, lend us your cash.
Yes.
We are ready for you. If you didn't like that 57 minutes of content
Mm-hmm.
Check your head.
Yeah, we're also available for brand licensing if you want to make share what you're making with Chair and Bacon toys, memorabilia. We're here for it.
Artists, I'd like to be drawn like a French girl.
Yeah, always will be drawn like French girl. Who doesn't?
There's that outro music. Oh, Bacon. Till next time, I'm here to prop you up.
I'm here to be tasty.
Thank you, folks.